going to make a list of all different kinds of Disney characters and then put it in a bowl. And we'll have either I'll draw from it or I'll let my sister draw from it, and we'll just go from there, see what comes up, and start drawing. I'll probably just do maybe Disney animals because I'm honestly not that good at people. People are going to look kind of deformed and you might be scarred for life if I try to do that. So we're going to stick to Disney animals. So I'll go ahead and make that list real quick and then we'll get to drawing. Would you mind doing the honors of picking the very first Disney character to be drawn from this very appropriately themed Disney box?
Absolutely.
Sorry.
This is 2.
Oh, Timon and Pumbaa.
Yeah.
Let's see.
You got my face in there.
Alright, so our first Disney characters have been chosen by Peyton, Timon and Pumbaa. So I will go ahead and look up a reference photo for them because I cannot do any kind of drawing without a reference photo, especially Disney characters. So I'll get one of those and then we will start drawing. Okay, I think I found one right here. I honestly was having a hard time finding some good ones. Here, I'll show you the one that I found. This one is from the 1994 movie. I don't know why it's hard to find good reference photos for Timon and Pumbaa, but this is the one I will attempt to do. It's not gonna look like that, but let's see. I'm also not gonna add color because I don't have my colors here, so it will just be a sketch black and white thing. But hopefully they won't look deformed. You'll find out. I started to take drawing more seriously around the time I began high school. Before that, I made drawings and cut them out for me and my sister to play with when we were really young. And I would make them after our animal figures or zoo books and kind of look at them and compare them and make drawings from that. When I started to do drawings in high school, though, they took on more of a sketch-like appearance. I remember following Mark Curly animal sketch tutorials on YouTube and seeing good progress with doing that. From there, I would take the techniques he taught and apply them on sketches I did based off real-life reference photos of animals, giving me more freedom in what I chose to sketch. Then I tried my hand at adding color to sketches and using different types of sketch paper, pens, and pencils. Sketching and drawing puts my mind in kind of a hyper-focused state, so it's a really good way to be mindful in the present and de-stress. Okay, so now you can see I've kind of gotten the main basic shape down. I might do a little bit of shading now, but like I said, though, I can't do any color. So shading will be next, and I might also do it in ink too to kind of make it stand out more. All right, so the shading is done and also the ink work. So this is the final product for Timon and Pumbaa. Now we get to pick our second Disney character, so I'll go get the Disney box. If I can get it open, I think I taped it. Here we go. Oh yes, it's Pongo. I've been wanting to do him. Okay, sweet. Let's get to drawing Pongo. I'd say that my favorite art to do are animal sketches for sure, but definitely Disney characters are fun because of their unique shapes and color designs. Also, it amazes me how Disney animators are able to create such incredible characters from relatively few simple lines. As you can even see here, Pongo from 101 Dalmatians is just, like, I would say bare minimum lines in drawing, but he still looks just like a Dalmatian and has, like, you know, the facial expressions that allows you to connect with the character. You can tell what's going on in the scene, so it is just amazing how much you can do with so little. Pongo ended up being really fun to do. I chose to do color on him just because he was more basic and it wasn't going to be too complicated and I wasn't going to be able to mess it up that bad. We can go ahead and pick our next Disney character. For some reason, I lost the original box that had all of the character names in it, so I had to completely create a new box. It's a little bit more boring now. It's not Disney themed with some of the same characters, so we'll go ahead and pick another one and then get to drawing that one. After we do that, I will go ahead and show some art supplies. Let's see which character will be next. Ooh, this is going to be a really fun one. I've done him before, so I'll have to decide if I want to do color or not. let's not get the hopes up for color. It's relatively simple though. I'll show you. Our next character is Shere Khan. The bare necessities are all that's needed, right? Anyway, this character is, of course, from the Jungle Book. And something I admire, again, like I've said, about Disney characters is just how much use and intention they put into each and every single line, and how it is both simple yet becomes so recognizable in the character. And so for Shere Khan, of course, you can see his design features are very pronounced. We've got that very prominent jaw that kind of sticks out. We also have kind of the sharp edges and lines in his facial structure, with the nose, the forehead, and even the fur kind of on the back of his head. Another thing that's interesting about this scene is that we actually have two antagonists here kind of in a conversation, and you can kind of see one overpowering the other, which is really interesting. So this one is definitely really, really fun to draw. I admire Disney a lot for just how they can convey so much storytelling simply in the design of the characters themselves. I think that's really, really special. Done. Alright, Shere Khan is, I think, done. I might outline him, but I'm not sure. This is just pencil outline and pencil shading. We'll move on to the next drawing. Okay, so now that we've drawn a couple of Disney characters, I wanted to just show a little bit of the art supplies that I use. Now, I'm not a professional by any means or anything like that, but there are a few materials that I really, really like and have used over the years throughout drawing and practicing. So I will go ahead and just kind of show a few things that you might be interested in trying out yourself. Another great resource is if you have a sister who also loves art, because you can steal some of her supplies. So we've got things like colored pencils, of course. We also have these Posca pens, which I think I've only used a couple times, but they're good for adding color. We have India ink, as well as some Black Magic ink, the Sharpie notes. We also have a variety of styles of paintbrushes. I like to do acrylic, sometimes watercolor, but these are really good for either of those. And then we have the graphite pencils with the super thick graphite on the end. And then let's see, just some like regular shading pencils that I use so much. I have my own, of course, but that's just an example. This acrylic white paint is good, of course, if you're doing an acrylic painting, but it's also really good to use if you're doing sketches and need to put highlights on them. You can also use a white pencil, but sometimes acrylic will just pop out a lot more. And then something that we use all the time and absolutely love are these Micron pens. They come in the different sizes. This is a 08. They've also got, smaller ones and bigger ones, but those we use so much. And then I don't think she has anything else that I wanted to point out. Sorry for the lighting, I'm in our laundry room / art room, but I wanted to point out a couple more things in here. We also have things like watercolor pads, canvases like this. I don't know what size these are, and I don't think I've actually ever used one this big, but they're just basic paint canvases. We've also used rice paper before to do art with ink. Oh, you have some smaller canvases, these size. I'm trying to find, I know we have some watercolor. We have Master's Touch watercolor paint sets to use. Those are really, really good. Watercolor pencils. I'm not a huge fan of them. I would rather use watercolor paint. And then we also have these type pens, which are really nice because they have the double tip. They've got the brush tip and then the fine liner tip on the bottom. And this is the Ohuhu color markers. Love those. And then this is really good if you want to blend colored pencils in your artwork, but you just have to be careful not to inhale the fumes. Not good for you. But it looks like this. And I also really enjoy this ink marker. It is, I guess, that brand. I'm actually not too sure, but it's water-based black. I'll show you what it looks like. Kind of like that. It's really good for outlining or pretty much just outlining, but I love this one. But another thing that I absolutely have been using a ton lately are these Inkonic pens from the Arteza brand. They've got all different kinds of colors, so they come in cases like this with pretty much any color you could need. So I really like using those. And then as far as colored pencils go, I've always used, I guess pretty much since I started seriously getting into art, are the Prismacolor pencils. They look like this. They're really good quality. And then finally, as far as sketchbooks go, have the Illo sketchbook, which Oh, sorry. That's Merry and Pippin's love marks right there. This is the illo sketchbook, which I learned about from my sister, who is so good at art. So she knows quality when she sees it, definitely. And they are really nice. They lay flat, so it's easier to draw. And then the pages look like this. Pretty, plain. It's very smooth. Good to work on. So we've got that one. And then another one I really like more for realistic sketches because it holds the pencil lead better than the illo sketchbook would be this V paper sketchbook that my sister got me for Christmas one year, which it was kind of a while ago, so I haven't filled it up yet, which just goes to show how much I don't sketch. But I really, really like the quality and also the size because you can do multiple sketches on one page, either this way or that way. So this is probably my favorite sketchbook and would definitely probably be getting another one of these if I ever fill this one up. But yeah, that is the art supplies, or the majority of the art supplies that we like to use. So let's go ahead and start drawing some more Disney characters. We're going to go ahead and pick out the 4th Disney character. So should have 3 more left in here. We'll see which one it is. Ooh, it's Ariel. This will be a fun one to do. I know it is a person, so because it's not an animal, I'm hoping to get the proportions right. Might be a little bit more challenging. I guess I could do more of a simple cartoony one, but I kind of want to do the classic, so I'll find a reference photo and we'll get started. I don't know why I did this to myself. I even said at the beginning of the video that I was not going to do people. I was only going to do Disney animals, and that would have been great. But I was like, oh, Ariel. I really love The Little Mermaid, so why not? And I completely forgot that I have no skill in doing people, so enjoyed this really unfortunate drawing of Ariel. I just did the basic pencil and ink for this drawing because I wanted to honestly kind of get it over with because I was a little bit nervous about how it was going to turn out. Ariel is done. My apologies for scarring you by trying to draw a human. I know that is definitely not my strong suit, so the proportions are not the best. Hopefully it's not too scarring. The shading is a little bit interesting too, but I think I'm going to leave it like this for now, and we'll go ahead and draw the next one. Only 2 more left to go, so let's see which one this will be. We have got next Pua. Okay, so we're going to be doing Pua from Moana. Hopefully this one will be a relatively quick and easy one, and then we'll move on to our final character. I think I'm going to try to do the last 2 characters in color. Pua should be pretty easy because he, is like a white pig with a little bit of pink possibly, so he won't be hard. But then we will do the very last character, no matter what it is, in all color. So I haven't decided if I'm going to use these marker things or colored pencils. The thing with these, you can see like the streaks when you're drawing it, but then with colored pencils the color isn't as vibrant. So I don't know, I'll decide on that as we're drawing Pua. So let's get to drawing. This is the reference photo I've picked out for Pua. So as you can see, he's mainly white, a little bit of light pink, maybe some brown in the eyes, gray, and then we do have this oar right here, which will have a little bit of a wood texture, so haven't figured out how I'll do that yet. It's a relatively simple shape. There honestly were not a lot of reference pictures for him, so I'm glad I found this one. Oh, I guess you would consider Pua a sidekick type character in Disney's Moana. I quite honestly forget that he is even a character because his part in the movie is so small, maybe just like a little bit of comic relief and a couple of other key parts. Otherwise, again, I kind of forget that he exists, but he's good for practicing drawing. He's got, I would say, a little bit more complicated lines than some of the other Disney characters, and definitely more depth in the facial expression. Okay, this is Pua with only pencil and some shading. Now I will try to do a little bit of colored pencils on him and then probably outline to see what that looks like. If you're getting into using colored pencils in your drawings, something that's really important to keep in mind is using colors that you might not necessarily think of using, and especially in doing a lot of shading. So as you saw, I used blue first for Pua's fur, which you wouldn't necessarily think of doing, but again, it all comes down to shading, especially when using colored pencils, because somehow all of the colors end up working together and making this really, really cohesive type look. So just kind of experiment and learn, use all different kinds of colors and shading until you kind of figure out how it all works together. This is the final finished product for Pua. So we're able to do the colors on him and then also outlining as well. Now we'll move on to the last character, which we'll probably do in marker colors this time. All right, we're ready for our very last drawing. It's the very last one in the box. Don't have to close my eyes for this one. Stitch. Stitch is one of my absolute favorite ones to draw because he's just so fun. And like I said, I'll do a color drawing for this one. So I'll use the Arteza markers for him, which I have not done on a drawing yet before, so it'll be interesting to see how it turns out. I'm doing Stitch on the tone gray paper just because tone gray usually makes color stand out a lot better, especially if you are doing white. So for example, if you're doing a sketch, let's just say a plain sketch with just pencil and or ink, and you really want to emphasize the highlights on your sketch, tone gray would be an amazing paper to use because it does have that darker background. So when you go in and add the highlights with either a white marker, a white pen, or even white pencil, it really stands out. But as far as this case, we'll add color to Stitch later, and it will hopefully make it stand out a little bit more than it would on just white paper, kind of give that contrast. I guess technically white paper would give more of a contrast, but for some reason it just looks really good on tone gray. Okay, we're now to the coloring part. I'm honestly really nervous about doing this because it's marker, so it will probably show all of the little marks you'll see in a minute. But this is him just pencil and outlining, so I will attempt to do the color and we'll see how it turns out. I am honestly kind of experimenting here with using these markers. I don't usually do a lot of art with markers just because it does tend to show the marker lines when you're drawing, and also because the color is so bold, I am hesitant to use it because I don't want to make a mistake. But at the same time, it does add a lot to your drawing, so we'll just see how this turns out on Stitch, especially with the blues. It's hard to make them more visible since they are kind of close together in color, as you'll see, so I might need to add a little bit more bold black outlining around him. We'll see what we get. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Of course, you can see the lines, but that's just going to be normal with using markers, so this was the final sketch. Alright guys, that is all the Disney characters we will be doing in today's video. Thank you so very much for watching. If you made it all the way through, hopefully you were able to gain some inspiration in your own character drawings and maybe even some of your own character designs. Thank you so much. I had a lot of fun making this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you wish, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.